What's up YouTube, PokePrimer here, primed and ready to deliver you our Week 2 Team Builder here in the BTA Season 8. This week we are taking on the Williamsburg Whimsicotts, coached by Pantros. He's a really solid battler. He didn't have a lot of luck Week 1, but he had a fairly not great matchup. I think his matchup was a little bit meh. This week the matchup, I think, feels a little bit more 50-50, so it's going to be a very interesting game to say the least. I know Pantros is a really solid battler. I played him once before in a separate league. That was doubles league. I've never played him in singles yet, so we'll see how that pans out. Actually, fun fact, I have to play him in the playoffs for that doubles league. A rematch in playoffs for the doubles league same day as this battle is technically going to be happening. I'm recording this on Wednesday of Week 2. You haven't even seen the Week 1 stuff yet, but I'm staggering it. That's how it's working. So, like, Week 1 already happened, then I'll upload that the following weekend. That's how that works. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so you can see his team is right below me, right down here-ish, right down, like, this area, like, right below my body. Yes. His team consists of Mega Manectric, Toxapex, Grimmsnarl, Crocodile, Lurantis, Mismagius, Unpheasant, Volcarona, Haxorus, Garbodor, and Minior. Really solid team across the board. Really, really good stuff. Things that stand out as threatening. Crocodile, again, even though we made the transaction that we did, Crocodile is still scary. Ground type still hit us pretty hard, so it's going to be annoying to deal with that thing, to say the least. Toxapex is always annoying. We have ways of beating it, and I think like our team's like typically like good against Toxapex, so I don't know if he'll bring it or not against us, but it still can be very annoying. Minior, if it gets set up, could very well be a problem that can just break through our team, but I think we have ways on just about every mon to weaken it down and like handle it appropriately. I think we have enough ways to deal with it, so I hope we have enough ways to deal with it. I think we can beat it personally, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, and if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. That's an even better option, honestly. But yeah. Haxorus is always a threat. Haxorus hits like a truck. So many things. It just don't appreciate being hit by Haxorus at all. So that's not going to be pleasant, to say the least. Switching in on that thing is going to be a pain, but we have our ways of beating it. Volcarona is a massive, massive threat. But again, I've designed ways of beating that thing 1v1. I think like 2 of our Pokemon can straight up just beat it 1v1 every time. So I'm not too stressed there. Aside from that, nothing that really stands out as like super duper threatening. We've got ways to pretty much beat down and deal with most members of the team. Grimmsnarl can be annoying, but again, I have ways of dealing with that, and you will see shortly. So first thing we're going to be bringing this week is going to be Archangel, our Mega Absol. Running Knockoff, Sucker Punch, Play Rough, and Swords Dance. We're running enough speed to outpace the Mismagius. That is the fastest thing on their team that we can outspeed. Max attack, and we just do the rest into HP for a little bit extra bulk. Knockoff, again, is just really super spammable against their team. Best thing that can come in on it is Mega Manectric, honestly, but it doesn't appreciate it all that much. So I'm not super worried about that. Yeah, I'm not like super worried about Mega Manectric coming in. Like it's not, even though it does have the Intimidate and stuff, it's still not like super bulky. So it won't appreciate the knockoffs coming in. And like the only things that really resist Dark on the team are Grimmsnarl and Crocodile. Yeah, it's just Grimmsnarl and Crocodile, and after the knockoff, neither of them is going to appreciate a Play Rough, a Max Attack Play Rough from Mega Absol, or like Say if I'm predicting the Grimmsnarl to switch in, and I get a Swords Dance up, it's definitely not going to appreciate Player Off after that, so... very well could just destroy his Crocodile and Grimmsnarl pretty easily with that. Swords Dance was literally just because we couldn't think of anything else, and being able to get up an SD and have that priority Sucker Punch to beat down things like Megmanectric, as well as being able to fire off boosted knockoffs against all the things that would be slower than us, Miss Magnus, Volcarona, Haxorus. All these things are not going to appreciate it. I am aware Haxorus could have the first impression, and to deal with that, we're just going to have to switch around appropriately. We have mons that can take first impression from Haxorus. No real issues, so I'm not super worried about it. And then obviously we can calc from there and see if he's banded, scarfed, whatever. But yeah, so I think Absol can put in a lot of work in this game. Getting SDs up is going to be super important, and will allow us to really, really, like, wall break. Like, I know last week, Absol didn't really get a chance to come out and do its job, wasn't able to do anything much for us, but I think this week it has a much better matchup. We'll be able to do a lot more damage to our opponents, for sure. Next up, we have Buzz the Volcanion. Once again, running the heavy-duty boots, water absorbability, Steam Eruption, Will-O-Wisp, Rock Slide, and Defog for the move set. As for its spread, we are running 252 HP, 132 attack, 124 defense, and a sassy nature. Okay, so a lot of that looks weird, but let me break it down one by one. Okay, so 252 HP plus a sassy nature makes it so that a +1 Volcarona cannot 2 KO our Volcanion. And with the 132 in attack, Rock Slide, guaranteed OHKOs, even a max HP variant of Volcarona. So that pretty much covers, like, this thing switches in on Volcarona every single time and freely just beats it. No matter what. Even if it sets up a Quiver Dance as we switch in, this thing beats it 1v1 every time, no matter what. And we have ways of healing up Volcanion later, so it can deal with other things as well. So that's pretty cool. Steam Eruption is just, again, it's a very spammable move. Nothing really wants to get burned. Nothing really wants to take a Steam Eruption at all. Nothing will ever want to take a Steam Eruption. So anything that comes in on that, if it gets burned, that's great. But it'll do a lot of damage to a lot of mons on this team. Will-O-Wisp is nice. I have Will-O-Wisp on this simply because... so my thought process is, like, I could see Haxorus trying to set up in front of this thing. And I ran a few calcs. I need to be at higher HP for this. But even if it's a Lumberry Haxorus, which I could very well see him bringing... basically, if it tries to set up in front of us, we click Will-O-Wisp the first time, right? We hit him. If he's Lumberry, it pops the Lumberry, he gets the +1. We can still take a +1 of any attack that he goes for, Earthquake, Outrage, whatever, we can take a +1, especially with 124 in our defense. So we can fire off Will-O-Wisp again, and then burn the Haxorus, and then we can deal with it better with other members of our team. So that works pretty well. If he's not... Lumberry, then we just burn him for free right off the bat. So, and he can't KO us with anything from full if he's not at +1. So, like, even a Life Orb Haxorus cannot KO us from full with Earthquake, stuff like that. So Volcanion with Will-O-Wisp will work really well there. And then, of course, we have Defog because of the potential of Toxic Spikes from Pex, Toxic Spikes and Spikes from Garbodor, Screens from Grimmsnarl, Rocks from Crocodile. Trying to see, I don't remember if Minior gets Stealth Rocks, but it might. So that's another thing that could potentially be a pain in the ass. Just any of those things, being able to remove those hazards pretty effectively will be extremely useful for our team. And especially if he is a Screens Grimmsnarl, we do not want that at all. I refuse to let that thing set up screens safely. I will not let it set up screens safely. I will bully that thing with every chance that I can get. I will not allow screens on the field for very long. So, yeah. Because I know with screens, he can easily go into things like Volk and Haxorus and set up with them behind the screens. And I will not be allowing that to happen. No. Not allowing it. Not a thing. Yeah. So, next up we have Shroomsy the Amoonguss. Gotta bring the boy once again. Spore, Clear Smog, Sludge Bomb, and Foul Play with the Black Sludge and Regenerator ability. And then we're just running a fully physically defensive set because why not? Spore, again, is pretty no drawback. This week, their only immunity to Spore on their team is Lurantis, which I don't think comes. If it does, he's a braver man than I. But I don't think Lurantis is all that great of a Pokemon, personally. I've never seen Lurantis do anything, nor have I ever thought Lurantis was solid in any way. Plus, it's not going to switch in on Amoonguss because Amoonguss beats it 1v1. So, yeah, I'm not really threatened by Lurantis. So we can freely Spore things, put things to sleep. Really, really useful stuff. Being fully physically defensive means we're not threatened by things like Haxorus, threatened by Garbodor, not threatened by unboosted Minior, and we can honestly just spam Clear Smog against it and keep it from getting a boost, which would be important. We have Clear Smog as well for Grimmsnarl. This thing beats Grimmsnarl 1v1. As being fully physically defensive, we tank things like Fire Punch pretty easily. We can tank any of his physical Dark-type moves. We obviously resist the Fairy-type stab. So, if it tries to set up bulk-ups, if it's a bulk-up Grimmsnarl, we can just throw Clear Smogs off in front of its face, and it really can't do anything about it. Then we also have Sludge Bombs, just as a stab move to throw off and hit things, pick up poisons maybe if we can get as lucky as we did week 1. I would feel bad, but at the same time, I kind of wouldn't, because I'll take the damage. Free chip damage, man. Why would I say no to free chip damage? And then we have Foul Play. Foul Play is there for if Haxorus gets set up, gets a Dragon Dance up or something like that. We can tank a hit from +1. I don't know if we can take one from +2. I know we can take one +1 if it's boosted with a Life Orb. I think we can take that. But I don't think we can take one if at +2. Like I don't think we can take an SD Haxorus hit, but I do think we can take a yeah, I think we can take a +1 hit though. And the way our team is built, I don't think we would allow him to be able to get past +1. We have enough ways of checking and beating that thing, so not too worried about it. But Foul Play does like 60+ percent to Haxorus at +1, so be very useful against that thing because by the time it gets to +1, I'm sure it will have taken some damage at that point. So with that, whatever chip damage it's taking to that point, Shrooms will be able to beat it down pretty easily. So that's for our Amoonguss. Next up, we have, making his debut this season, Free Wi-Fi, the Licky Licky. Holding the leftovers with the Oblivious ability, so we cannot be taunted by things like Grimmsnarl or Crocodile or anything like that, which is super important. We are running Wish, Knockoff, Rock Slide, and Heal Bell. 248 HP, 132 defense, and 128 special defense with a Careful Nature. The 128 plus Careful Nature and the 248 HP obviously together allow it so that after leftovers, it makes every hit from a +1 Volcarona a guaranteed 3 KO instead of a 2 KO, which is great. and Rock Slide does like 80 to 100 something on no HP and like 71 to 80 something on max HP Volcarona. So the fact that it can't 2-hit KO us and we can guarantee 2-hit KO it no matter what makes this thing able to just beat Volcarona. So again, like, I'm not super worried about Volcarona at all in this matchup, as much as it normally should worry people, because I have pretty much designated ways of beating it. Knockoff is important just to get rid of items on the opposing team. It never hurts to be able to do. And with Licky being so chunky, he can very easily do that against most. Just fire off a free knockoff against most things. Wish passing is going to be super duper important, I think, in this game. With things like Volcanion being built to take certain hits from certain mon, as well as like some of our other offensive mons trying to take some hits. Being able to pass wishes off will be super important. So that's what we have that. We have Heal Bell just in case Toxapex comes and starts spamming off Toxics, getting things poisoned and stuff like that, or Skull Burns from Toxapex as well. Being able to remove those will be very important. Just as like a backup clan, just in case. I tried to fit it on another mon on our team, but it just didn't fit with my mindset of like how the set was supposed to be used. So, not too worried about it. But yeah, I'm not super worried about not running Stab on Licky. Body Slam would have been nice to maybe like pick up some paras on things, but looking at the team, it's just like I don't see a lot of the things that would maybe switch in. I don't see like getting paras on them as like being super necessary. But yeah, Licky should be able to do a lot of work for us. I threw that 132 into defense because there are a couple of physical threats that this helps us take on a little bit better. So that's really nice as well. Licky's just a really solid Pokemon. Really, really awesome Pokemon. And I'm super excited to have it again in this league. Hoping that it can put in a little work for us this week. Next up, we have Mongolian, the Zygarde, rocking the Habanberry, 1,000 Arrows, Extreme Speed, Dragon Tail, and Dragon Dance. Max attack, we have enough speed to outpace the Unpheasant. And then we have that last 16 into our HP stat. Now, the reason why I'm running Dragon Dance and Dragon Tail, mostly because I worry about the Grimmsnarl existing. I don't want to lock myself into Outrage unnecessarily. And then have that thing be able to come in for free and then set up in my face. That's not cool. Plus, Dragon Tail prevents... Dragon Tail gives me a way of preventing things trying to set up in front of me, like Volcarona or Haxorus that might want to try to set up in front of me, or like Minior, which I don't know why it would try to set up in front of me, especially Shell Smash variant, but whatever. But I don't really need, like, the Dragon Stab isn't super important, it's only for the Haxorus. That's why we're running the Habanberry, because we didn't really need anything like boosting our damage. And they don't have any prominent Ice-type mons to beat me down with, so that's pretty cool. This thing also switches in pretty freely on Mega Manectric now that HP Ice is gone, considering its best move to hit me with is like Hyper Voice, I think. So that's not really great for it. So this thing can pretty much set up a Dragon Dance pretty free in front of it. So that's pretty cool. 1,000 Arrows hits everything on his team super hard. Does not appreciate it. Extreme Speed is there just in case of like any random Scarfers that are out there. Smack those. Like if he's running Scarf Volcarona for some reason or Scarf Haxorus, it'd be nice. It's also good for picking off things that might be set up like a Quiver Dance Volcarona or a Dragon Dance Haxorus late game. The Habanberry is so that I can sit my Zygarde in front of a Haxorus that might... So, like, if I bring Zygarde in and I just throw off 1,000 Arrows and kill something, or I throw off an Extreme Speed to kill something, he might go into his Haxorus and think, I can just click Outrage and kill this thing. That's not the case. So, Dragon Tail does a very sizable chunk to Haxorus. So if he tries to step in front of me, he gets sent down immediately. If he just goes for an outrage, the Habanberry pops. We eat the outrage like it's nothing. And we send him flying anyway. So either way it works. If we've already gotten a Dragon Dance up, Dragon Tail, like he can go into his Haxorus, click outrage. We'll still eat the outrage, and then Dragon Tail has a good chance to KO. Has about a 50% chance to KO him from full. So that's pretty cool as well. So it's an interesting bring, but it's something that I think has its merits. I think it could be very useful. I'm not super worried about it though. I think Mongolian will be fine. Overall, I think odds are we can pretty much just spam 1,000 arrows a lot against his team, and there's really not a lot that he has that can do anything about it. Like the main things he would switch in 2,000 arrows would be probably Grimmsnarl, which we have designated check 2 in Amoonguss, / Volcanion, because Volcanion would come in if it's a Screens variant, and Lurantis, which is a bad Pokemon that's beaten by Amoonguss 10,000% of the time. So no matter what, Zygarde's pretty safe to just click 1,000 arrows 9 times out of 10 and beat down his team. So Mongolian's going to do a lot of work this week, I feel, for sure. But if he needs a little bit of help to break some of these things down, we have Madoka the Sylveon making her debut this week. I'm just going to make that very clear. We are rocking the Kebia Berry with the Pixelate ability, Hyper Voice, Substitute, Wish, and Psy Shock, 248 HP, 76 defense, with a bold nature, and 184 into our special attack. Okay, so first things first, look at Pantros' team. Look at Pantros' team, right? Look at the switch-ins he has to Hyper Voice, right? Not a switch-in, right? Not a switch-in. Not a switch-in, it dies. Dies. Not a switch-in. Not a switch-in. Not a switch-in. Dies. And not a switch-in. So his switch-ins include Garbodor, Toxapex, and Volcarona, right? So most of the time, Sylveon can come in and just pick up kills pretty freely. But just in case something like a Toxapex shows up, right? We can click Substitute in Toxapex's face. Just straight up in Toxapex's face. Because Scald does like 10%, 10 to 12% to us. If it's running a Poison-type move, good on him. But Knockoff doesn't do anything. He can click Toxic against us, maybe. But that's about it. So we can get a sub in his face, and then we can just spam Psyshock against it. If it's a physically defensive set, it will take like 25 to 30. If it's a Spadef set, it takes a lot more than that. It takes over 30, so that's really nice. Kind of the same situation with Garbodor. It takes like 33 to 39 if it's Fizdef. If it's Spadef, it takes like 40-something to almost 50%, which is very nice. And Volcarona would consistently take 33% min from Psyshock, so it's a 3 KO on that thing. Most likely, the item it'll run is Heavy Duty Boots, because we don't have, it might not run Boots against us, maybe, also because we only have one rocker, but again, if you have the ability to say, I don't take Stealth Rock damage at any point in time, you take it. If they're not running Boots, then good on them for predicting us not to bring Armaldo. As you can see, we did not bring Armaldo. Basically, best set for it to have against our team is a Quiver Dance 3-attack set. Because its Dual Stab does really nicely against our team. Bug Buzz allows it to break through things like, stuff. Bug Buzz gives it something better to hit. Zygarde, Flamethrower, it allows it to tear through things like Moongus and stuff, and then it needs like a coverage move to be able to break through, to hopefully try to break through something like Volcanion, which it can't, but it can try. But yeah, that's pretty much the set that I think he'll bring. With or without boots, doesn't really matter, I don't think, because like we still have two different ways of beating it 1v1, so I'm not super worried. But yeah, basically we can get a sub off with Sylveon a lot of the time. There's not a lot of things that, like, we can sub up in front of Toxapex's face, but we can also sub up in front of things like Grimmsnarl, because it, is not, it doesn't threaten us very much. We can sub up in front of maybe Lurantis if it shows up, or if we think we're absolutely going to force something out, we can get a sub up for free. And Hyper Voice, again, nothing appreciates it. If we can get a sub up and fire off a Hyper Voice, that's fantastic for us. And if we get a sub up, if we can get behind a sub and stay behind a sub for a little bit, we can beat down Volcarona pretty easily. It would have to set up in front of us to try to beat us, and 3 Psyshocks will kill it, and most of the sets I think it'll most likely run, it won't be packing a Roost or any real recovery. So I truly think this Sylveon can 100% beat Volcarona 1v1, if it comes down to it. But yeah, and we have Wish as well to heal ourselves up behind the sub and stuff. Kebuberry is for Haxorus. If it gets to +1, it still can't 2 a KO us with Poison Jab, and so we can just 100% KO it with Hyper Voice every time. So that's pretty sick. But yeah, that is our Sylveon, and that is the team. Sorry if it's a little bit long-winded. I'm kind of like, my brain's a little bit wired today. It's been a really weird day. So I'm kind of a little bit off. But thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. The battle will go up tomorrow from when you're seeing this, obviously. Yeah. And it's going to be a fun one. So, till then, though, guys, I'm PokePrimer, and I'm signing off. Peace.